Look at Nick sounding so crisp and clean, like he's never sounded before. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, boy. I had to I switched to like the only set of like closed back headphones or semi closed back headphones that I even own. So hopefully there's not gonna be like too crazy like feedback or anything.
What are they?
Uh Sennheiser HD 600s. They're the only I don't have any like closed back headphones. These are only like semi closed back. Oh, I
Cinnamon.
figured out
That's a moment.
what?
No, you don't need to question it. There's cinnamon everywhere.
Good time.
Just I'm really gonna have you not question.
I found a
But
setting I need you to make sure that you turn down or turn off because I found out it's the thing that makes the battles lag so horribly. It
the
is
recordings.
corpse lifespan. Turn corpse lifespan down to the lowest setting. It's the thing that like most impacts battle performance.
Mine aren't lagging though. Why are yours lagging? You have a more powerful computer than me.
I don't know. I think it's lagging because it's trying to like slow me down to the speed that it's able to transmit data. You know what I mean? I suspect like the thing that might have been causing it to mess up. I think it defaults to my settings during battles because I'm the host, and I had it on. I had it like uncapped, where like bodies would stay throughout the entire fight. Apparently, that like completely slows down the battles enormously whenever the bodies are on screen.
Well, if I mean, if it helps you, I'll do it. Where do I do that at? I remember seeing it once, but I'm telling you, it never. I don't experience anything. The only problem I had was with the frames per second with OBS, but I don't have any gameplay issues.
It's in graphic settings, and
I
then
see it.
under yeah, it's
What
in
did you
graphic settings.
What did you make it?
The lowest you can make it is 30 seconds. That's the shortest amount that you can get it down to. Yeah, it's in graphic settings.
What did you make it?
The lowest you can make it is 30 seconds. That's the shortest amount that you can get it down to. Yeah, I just listened a little bit of my own stream, dude. It sounds so much better.
Yes, it does.
Like, that other microphone was terrible.
Yes, it does. Hey, it wasn't bad for its day, but
Like, that other microphone was
even for its day,
terrible.
there were probably, well, maybe not. I mean, because that was a USB mic as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a recent occurrence that USB has become powerful enough to support extremely good quality data, like audio streams, like data streams that can support like high quality microphones.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
I mean, if I'm wrong on that, I don't know, but if that's how it feels. I mean, isn't the Blue Yeti the first truly
I don't think so. It shall come to pass.
professional S grade microphone
Weaken me.
for USB connectivity?
I have no idea.
Darkness is
I'm
kept
sure
at
that's
bay.
probably how they advertise it. I'm sure that that's true. Like, I don't know enough about like audio engineering to say like one thing or the other. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you're right. I just like I don't even want to pretend um,
Further onward.
to know anything about it really.
My path is clear.
All I know is like I had the snowball and just so sound quality is just so much better.
We are the
They
world's
still sell the
protectors.
Snowball too, unless they've improved its performance. It can't be the same thing, right? I would.
I would assume they probably made like considerable improvements over time, anyways. Like regardless.
Now, did you get the blue? Did you get the X version, the Blue Yeti X, or did you get like the regular one?
I would have to look at it. I assume it's just the regular one. But I'm just happy with it. Like this is like good enough audio quality for what I wanted to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Alariel the Everqueen.
Like there's so much time between our campaigns. Sometimes I forget like what the fuck I was doing. What the game plan was. But this guy, yeah, I suicided this army in to wipe out somebody.
Praise Isha.
To wipe out Vlad. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. I can finish off Vlad over the next, probably actually be 3 turns.
All I know is that we have a bit of an endeavor here to finish off the vampire counts to redeem what happened in the earlier campaign. That's what I remember. You said you finished off your entire donut.
Yeah, the donuts the donut's mine. I have the whole donut. I can't even. I don't remember if I can fed all of the legendary lids. I have to look.
For my queen. Occupy this place. The gods stand with me.
And like, if anybody who like actually understands Shadow War is watching, like, I am gonna give all these settlements to him. I'm gonna abandon all of this shit.
Greetings.
As soon as he's in a position to
For whom do you dance?
to colonize all of them. Once the vampire counts are wiped out.
An early onset error in judgment allowed the vampires to regain control of the upper hand, which made me pull back from my Bretonnia campaign.
Welcome, friends of the Dowie.
Huh?
Nothing. So even because this campaign's only on hard, even on hard difficulty, the fucking greenskins and the vampire accounts are broken. Like everybody always complains about like the order tide. Like if you go on the Reddit, it's still the handful of people that still post anything about Warhammer 2, because really the Reddit's mostly people just bring up Warhammer 3 these days. But people still complain about the order tide, about like how powerful Brands and the dwarves get. Like, the past couple of games that I've played, like there is no order tide. Like the Empire and the dwarves usually get wiped out like pretty early on. And then it's all like greenskins and vampire counts.
I don't understand how the computer can wipe out the best race in the game so quickly, though.
They are
It must be broken, right? That's a glitch.
These fools
Something
have
like
no
that.
chance.
Some people would say that.
I find glory wherever I fight.
Some people that are right.
No.
Their masters may see worth it.
Just jealous that Sigma is superior. Jealous boy.
You may look upon me.
Empire is very good in multiplayer, where like flexibility matters. Having like a very
As it was meant to be.
like a roster that can adapt to like multiple situations. I don't think they're that good in campaign. But they're just really not that good in campaign. They have a whole bunch of problems. Win, probably.
I'm really enjoying Lost Ark.
Triumphs over darkness.
It is a very pretty game.
I think it's a good game. I mean, the story's getting better as it progresses. It feels like there was passion behind it. It feels well put together.
A darkness is
Yeah,
Although, did you see, huh?
Go ahead.
But did you see the the articles of people finding out how Amazon censored the game and changed it for the sensitive Western audience?
Yeah, that's kind of been going on for a while. They like slightly desexualize some of the female characters, right? Like I don't know, is there more stuff beyond that? That was the thing that everybody was complaining about.
A simple
Like
there
you
is
can't
more
have
stuff.
like big anime titties.
Well, they say the outfits are still there, but they're just not at the forefront anymore. They're buried.
Hmm.
But like they didn't make any new character models, which I get it. They want to have like a more eclectic group of individuals and more diversity. That's fine, and that makes sense to me. But they didn't change the character models. That's why some character models just look super tan. How else can you put it? That's why some of them just look really odd. Like that seems like almost like it looks like a rendering error
Hmm.
with the color of the unit. But it was they did that without actually changing the character model. So that explains to me because I never said anything about it. I was just like, maybe it's just because it's a Korean game. Maybe that's just how they do it. I don't know. But now it makes sense to me.
If you watch that live stream where like the game director kind of like speaks directly on like everything that happened, like what his plans are for the Western launch and things like that, it really does sound like he's not super happy with the way that Amazon is handling the localization.
Well,
But
Amazon also aren't they responsible for the store as well? So is I guess the game is more pay to win now than it's supposed to be, or something like that, because Amazon is putting shit behind paywalls. Is that what you heard as well?
I can't imagine that it's more pay to win than the Korean version. It's like usually like East Asian MMOs are like MMO players are like much more okay, seemingly, with like overt pay to win mechanics in their games.
So Amazon made digital blackface. I mean, I guess, kinda. I mean, based on some of the screenshots I've seen comparing
Awaiting
units that
orders.
seemed a little uncanny to me versus how they look now. It just looked weird. Like, and I'm trying to say that without anyone taking any
As you
other
say.
kind of implication from that statement. It's like, just from like looking at it from a design perspective, it looked incomplete. It looks like somebody that doesn't know how to create a character in a wrestling game. Like I even commented on it in one of my streams where there was one character that looked just like the character next to him, only this character was like completely like I'll just say he was jet black, including his hair. But it was the same unit next to the other unit that was pale white with orange hair. Same exact character model. And that was a choice by Amazon. That's not how the game was.
That's probably one of those things where like there's the presumption that you need to introduce a kind of like that like Western audiences will not accept zero diversity, and rather than going in and like actually sculpting like realistic facial features for minority groups, instead they just like recolored the skin. You know what I mean? Like it was very clearly like a low cost attempt to get a kind of the kind of multicultural aesthetic available. But yeah, it comes across as like low effort, and when it's done like that poorly, it seems kind of odd. But like it was clearly like a cost-cutting measure, you know what I mean? It's like you would think if you're gonna like introduce this like game that you're expecting to be this massive. I guess maybe that's the thing. Maybe Amazon wasn't expecting this to really become a kind of like blow up sensation as quickly as it's become. I'm increasingly convinced that, like, basically when it comes to the MMO genre, like, Asmongold just gets to decide what is and isn't popular in the MMO genre. And, like, there's some things that...
because of, you think Asmongold's the reason why Lost Ark is popping up? There's been a lot of talk about Lost Ark without Amazon, or without Asmongold talking about it, though.
I go then.
I knew about Lost Ark before I was...
I did not. He was the first person that I saw talk about it. And it increasingly feels like his opinion is really the only opinion that really seems to matter in determining, like, which MMOs are going to be relatively successful. I swear to God, like, Final Fantasy XIV would not have blown up the way it did in the West had Asmongold not decided to give it a try. To, like, start the hype train.
Didn't he decide to give it a try because it was blowing up?
No, he decided to give it a try. Well, it depends on who you ask. There are some people who think... We're getting, like, deep in internet lore here, but basically, the #2 guy on Bellular's channel made this video that Asmongold reacted to. And the #2 guy on Bellular's video, this guy named Matt, is made this really compelling case. And Asmongold, got, probably 1 million fucking views of people watching him react to Matt explain why FF14 systems are so much better and why it's so much more fun to play FF14, so much less of a chore, god damn it, than WoW is. So, like, it was really this there was a whole series of events that happened. Like, WoW was at its nadir, right? It was like the point where, like, the appeal of World of Warcraft was, like, plummeting because of, like, a whole series of, like, really bad decisions that Blizzard had made around that time. And, God...
You're getting flanked.
Yeah, I know.
To battle. Following orders.
Fuck, she broke. I guess it doesn't matter. So really, there are some people who completely blame the entire ascent of, who unironically claim that the ascent of FF14 in the West is a result of Matt reacting to and giving, like, a positive review. Because Matt giving that positive review to FF14 and basically, like, explaining how the game actually has these good systems compared to WoW is the thing that made Asmongold flip and give it a chance. So, like, the meme in the community is that that Matt is the reason that FF14 blew up in the West at the end of the life cycle of Shadow Walker, or of Shadowbringer. Because, like, Shadowbringer was, like, basically over by the time Shadowbringers is basically over by the time that Asmongold started playing it.
Asturian guides us. Archers. Onward.
Handmaiden of the Everqueen. It will be done.
We will obey. Sinner.
I remember hearing more and more about Final Fantasy to the point where it got to the point where people were talking about just how amazing the story was. Like, the storytelling was absolutely phenomenal, which in turn finally pushed Asmongold to try it. I'm not saying he did not influence the sudden, and steep ascend or boom, however you want to put it, in that game's popularity. I'm not saying he's not responsible for that at that moment when it shifted, but the game was already on a slow and steady incline in the West, from what I understand.
I mean, you can say it's been slowly getting larger and larger. I mean, that's just generically true. It's got, like, an inverse WoW growth curve where like the longer FF14 seems to be going on, like the better the story writing gets. And so as a result of that, the more popular the game gets. Because fundamentally the appeal of FF14 is that the story is not dog shit. Whereas like WoW, basically the appeal of WoW is fundamentally that like the core gameplay mechanics of WoW are supposedly fun. Like, so the games like are appealing to different sentiments in their audience, you know what I mean? Or they're appealing to different concepts. Like, I don't think anybody at Blizzard would like unironically argue that the writing in WoW is better than the writing in FF14, or that the writing in WoW is even a reason to play World of Warcraft. Like, nobody has made, or nobody can seriously make that argument ever since Metzen left. Like, even when people were making the argument during, like, the Metzen era, like, I'd be a little bit... I wouldn't take those claims very seriously.
For duty.
Nothing to be proud of, in my opinion. Like, WoW went from having a very respected or respectable storyline, starting with its RTS, to just it's almost like they just didn't know what to do. Like they
Yeah, I'm not saying Warcraft 3 is bad. Warcraft 3 is my favorite game of all time. Like, the storyline in Warcraft 3 is, like, fucking phenomenal.
Right,
but even if you compare the storytelling in Warcraft 3 to the storytelling in Classic WoW's storytelling is nowhere near Warcraft 3's storytelling. Like, they're just...
Like, how could it have been? It's not linear enough.
Yeah. If I can kill Manfred, I can crumble this army, but I don't know. I don't think I can kill Manfred.
Like, put it this way, I've never found any of those choose your own adventure books compelling. Like, you're not going to be able to tell a good or a succinct story in MMO outside of the main story arc, but that's not enough to hold people's attention. You have to have a bunch of side quests, side missions, all of the bullshit.
Understood.
But even with the main story, it's as if they went in to make this game just to see if they could make it and not to see if they had a story for it. Well, speaking of World of Warcraft, and it's just becoming more and more apparent that they don't know what they're supposed to write for it. So they're just writing stuff. That's it. That's what it boils down to.
There are like rumors that a lot of reasons why WoW's story has been so bad for the past couple expansions is because Alex Afrasiabi like had problems with booze, and before he got fired, like that seemed to be the issue. Like there was a whole like drama in the WoW community that sprang up over the past, I don't know, maybe it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. Maybe it was even a month ago. I don't know. This whole year is like blurred together for me. But like that was a big deal. But the reason why the story has been so bad is mostly Alex Afrasiabi's fault, and there's a reason that he no longer works at the company.
Eagle Claw.
Who did Return of the Lynch King?
Metzen.
Acknowledged. To the fray.
Well, like Metzen was still the creative lead during Wrath of the Lich King.
For duty, it shall be done.
Alright, now...
Nice.
It doesn't matter. There's no more tactics. Either I crumble their army out, or they very slowly grind me down. I don't know which is going to happen. I have literally no ammo. They have no general... There's no tactics anymore. This is just like a grind fest now.
Did they attack you, or did you attack them?
They attacked me with 2 armies. I think I got the crumble. Yeah.
Yep. Well done. Johan Helsnit.
Yeah, dude, I was talking to, or wait, I think you were there when I had that discussion with Paul a couple weeks ago. Like,
Um,
if you, or maybe you weren't there, I don't even remember. If you're, like, honest about World of Warcraft, and you, like, seriously compare the storytelling in World of Warcraft versus other games, and, like, what was accomplished in other games, you know what I mean? Other narrative driven experiences. Like, WoW peaked at like a 3 out of 10. In like every expansion, there would be one or two quest lines that were like a 3 out of 10 in terms of like skill and enjoyment. And like most stories that they did were like subpar. And actually, most of them were dog shit, if we're being fair. Like, most of the stories were like a 0 or a 1 out of 10, you know what I mean? But, like, in terms of, like, really drawing you into, like, a meaningful story, like, WoW never did it. And you can argue that it's because the toolkit that they had is so antiquated that you cannot deliver the same kind of narrative experience that FF14 can deliver. Or like that's like
that's the same arguments the devs that make Star Trek Online make. They said their engine's too old. That's why you don't have a more. That's why you don't have a Cardassian race or more planets. They're basically they're pegged. Like they can't do. They can only make stuff within. That's why all the new shits like Terran and shit that's already existed. Like
yeah.
they can't squeeze any more out of it. Is what they're saying.
When you go to FF14, like the kind of like the camera tools that they have, the rigging tools that they have for their models, like they can get away and just fundamentally see this is where you get to this point where like this weird like intersection where you're trying to argue about like how much do does the underlying system limit the degree to which you can tell a meaningful story, right? So in FF14, because they have like a higher degree of freedom in storytelling, because they have a better game engine, that's why the story can be so much more compelling and so much more interesting and so much more in-depth. It's why you can have real characters, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, who like actually have internal motivations that you care about, versus the Scions of the Seventh Dawn are not like, you know, kings and queens, you know what I mean? These are not the most important people, you know, they don't fit any of the kind of fantasy tropes of like who should be important, you know what I mean? And so you get this like this story about this group of people who wind up becoming friends and working together to try to save the world from various threats that pop up. It's why that story has so much more meaning and so much more depth than anything that WoW has ever done. Like, the real point that I was trying to get to is when I was talking to Paul about this, we more or less basically agreed that WoW's peak storytelling is like a 3 out of 10 if you're being like really fair and really objective about the quality of what we got. And that's not to say the gameplay's bad. Like, the reason why WoW sold so well is because there's a whole bunch of other things that WoW did way better than everybody else. But storytelling was never one of them. And, like, the low point of FF14 is A Realm Reborn, and A Realm Reborn is, like, a 5 out of 10. So, like, the low point, the worst part of FF14 in terms of storytelling is still like light years ahead of anything. It's way past the best storytelling that WoW has ever had. And then like when you try to compare like WoW to something like Shadowbringers, like it makes you realize like these two games are barely in the same genre. There's such a massive difference in quality. And there's such a massive difference in like what is possible. Like it's not even fair really to compare Shadowbringers with anything WoW has ever done. Because it's on a whole nother level compared to anything WoW has ever done. And like I don't even fucking like Endwalker. I thought Endwalker was like overrated. in terms of its story, but like the peak of FF14 is just so much higher than the peak of WoW.
Alariel
Not,
the Everqueen.
not in its day though. I mean, if you're factoring in the time in which it was
Jason.
made, WoW for its day was.
This world needs us.
Well, I'm not talking about holistically. I'm talking just about storytelling in this sense.
We are
The peak of
triumphant.
FF14 storytelling is way beyond anything WoW ever did.
Isha's chosen.
Yeah.
Champion of the Everqueen.
And then, like, you can get into, like, really convoluted arguments of, like, well, really, how important is storytelling in an MMO? And, like, I wish the answer was super important. But, like, objectively, like, the point you were just making, like, the peak of WoW in terms of cultural relevance, WoW has obviously always been more culturally relevant, much more important
Servant of
than
light.
FF14 at its cultural peak,
We
which
fight
is
for the
like
greater
when
good.
Asmongold started playing FF14, at least in the West. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Darkness is kept at bay. Isha is with me. Alariel, Everqueen. Alariel the Radiant.
Any
Alariel's
hope for New
champion.
World?
New World appeals. New World is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Like, it's appealing to, like, you know, people,
Cull.
you know, our age, more or less, people in like their mid-30s. I don't know.
Imric.
What?
Yeah, the Dark Elves are really starting to, like, spam send armies over here. Like, that's normal. That's what they're supposed to do, but I will at some point have to retract my armies
You
and
summon
actually go
Shadow
deal
King.
with the Dark Elves.
Do you serve with the warriors of Nagaroth?
We are ill at ease.
More turn for the last Confederation. Move everybody.
Champion of the Everqueen.
Move.
Duty is purpose.
Queen of Avalon.
Well, we always have Microsoft to breathe new life into Blizzard, or at least the Blizzard IPs, whether they're made by Blizzard anymore at that point or not. I really think
Everqueen
Microsoft should
of Ulthuan.
carve up Blizzard, give their IPs to companies that can
Your
actually do
aid.
something with them.
Um,
StarCraft to the Age of Empires team.
Yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen. Because, like, honestly, anybody who told you that they thought that Microsoft was gonna buy, if somebody told you last year that they thought Microsoft was gonna buy Blizzard, like, that's really what they thought was gonna happen, I'd be saying 100% that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, anybody who knows what Microsoft is gonna do anybody who says that they know what's gonna happen
I will hear your plea.
once, oh fuck,
Oh, it's
Confederate
you.
him too.
Well, it's further than
Excellent.
that too. You wouldn't just say bullshit to that, because you'd have to then realize that means Microsoft's also going to buy Activision, the Call of Duty kings. Like,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
That's the thing that's more surprising. And, I mean, really, that's the thing that's more significant. Like, the fact that they own Blizzard
Master
almost doesn't matter. The impressive thing is that they're buying, like, Call of Duty.
Magic in
Like, I don't I don't like Call of Duty. I would never like Call of Duty, but I can appreciate that that's way more important.
Make this quick. I have important matters to attend to.
Fuck. Gotta confederate him now. Oh, it's easy.
Guardian of the Phoenix Crown.
High Elven Archmage.
Ooh, she's an entrepreneur. Not worth it.
What does that modifier do?
That when it's on a lord, it's 15% income in the province that they're in, which is not bad. But I'll show you some real. Oh, he is still in. I thought he was wounded. I thought that's why he was willing to confederate. Let me show you the real cheese. If I can find one. This is why, if I can find one, this is why. No, there's got to be one somewhere. Ah, here it is. Okay, here's the hero version. The hero version is the one. This is why high elves have infinite money, right? This is why just because it's logarithmic expansion. Every time you recruit one of these heroes, they get the 15% income in the local province, but they also give 3% tax income faction wide. It modifies your entire income by 3%. So the way you get infinite money in the late games is high ups. You literally just recruit 100 entrepreneurs, and you just park them in the capital in Lothern. And Lothern alone will be making 14 million gold a turn. Is the most broken trait in the game. But you don't get it for free. You have to, heroes. If you're playing in High Elves, you can't just recruit the hero you want. You have to have the, you have to have their unique resource. What's that?
What was what?
I've never seen this item before. Don't even know what that is. I think that might be a bound flamestorm. That is unbelievably good. If that is a bound flamestorm.
I'm shocked that there's still something in this game that you have not come across yet.
There's lots of little stuff in the game in factions that I don't play very often. I'm not surprised, but I play High Elves all the time, and this trait is funny. Have you ever seen this trait, or have you gotten this trait before? Skaven Denial.
No.
Basically, if your character spends too much time in a region where there's high Skaven corruption, so the whole in-lore reason that there's not perpetual war between the Empire and the Skaven is that the Skaven do a whole bunch of chicanery where they convince the other races that they don't exist, right? And that's always been the joke. So and it works to both the Skaven and the Empire's advantage. Because the Elector Counts always believed that if people really understood that there were literally billions of monstrous rat monsters living underneath all of their cities that wanted to eat them, that it would basically lead to everyone either committing suicide or just refusing to work, you know what I mean? Becoming completely non-productive.
Why? Because they're just gonna sit in their homes in fear, knowing that anyone when a rat monster could come out and eat them.
Yes. If the people of the Empire ever understood just how badly they were outnumbered, there is no hope in the war against the Skaven. There is no point.
Why don't they just come out and take it over? Or
because the Skaven won't stop murdering each other. The only thing that stops the Skaven from taking over the world is that they won't stop killing each other whenever one of them gets close.
Skaven are keeping Skaven from
yes.
the world.
Unironically, the only thing that stops Skaven from conquering the world is other Skaven. The fact that they will not stop backstabbing and murdering and eating each other.
Interesting. So,
There-
like in the lore, are there just are there
pure
citizens of the Empire just walking around, maybe going grocery
Rook,
shopping, minding their
no
own business, and a
failure.
fucking rat monster sucks them into the sewer and eats them?
Yes.
So they're like they're basically farming us, the Empire.
Basically, it is entirely possible that if you stumble down like a dark alley somewhere in one of the major cities of the Empire,
You'll be
like,
eaten by a rat.
yeah, that you're gonna wind up getting eaten by ratmen at night. If you walk over a sewer grate, you know what I mean? The wrong sewer grate at the wrong time, it's entirely possible that like a group of, you know, angry, hungry ratmen is going to pounce on you and pull you down to your death. But there are undercities underneath almost every city in the Empire, if not all major cities in the Empire.
I am the heir of Anarium, and I bid you welcome.
Why don't they just send people down there to? Why don't they just make an extermination division of the army? They can't. I guess they can't because of the.
Yeah, okay, let's talk realistic numbers. Basically, the Empire is the HRE, circa 16, somewhere roughly in the 1600s, right? Let's not pin an exact date because you're fighting more essentially there's units in here that are similar to Lankishnacht, but there's also units similar to the Tertia. I don't know, somewhere 15, we'll say anywhere from 1550 to like 1750, right? See, the problem is like Hellblaster Vulligans. That's really, you could make an argument that nothing like that existed, I don't think, until the American Civil War. But more or less, it's basically a fantasy version of the Holy Roman Empire. And so you gotta think that like the population cap across the entire empire, it's definitely gotta be in the millions, but it's gotta be in the low millions, you know what I mean? Versus like the population of Skaven is supposed to be in the billions. Like they are numerically the dominant species in this world.
Technologically speaking.
Huh?
What about technologically speaking?
I mean, like that's like the debate. Like Skaven have better technology, but
They do?
yeah, they have literally atomic weapons. But like they're not very reliable because the Skaven don't care if other Skaven die when their inventions misfire. Like who has the best technology? Like very debatable. Like dwarves have the technology that is least likely to kill them on accident. But you know, the Skaven objectively have like the highest level of technology. You never played Skaven in this game, right? They literally have the Skaven weapons teams are literally like World War I era weapons. You have like
Are an unwelcome obstacle.
you have rattling guns, which are like fucking Gatling guns, you know what I mean? A two-man team. You have, you know, effectively snipers. Yes. Yeah. The person in your chat knows what I'm talking
Skaven
about.
also have Skaven also have more biological and chemical weapons, even more than the Nurgle's followers.
Yes. I think that's really more like a cleanse pestilence thing. But like, see, like this is like the weirdness. Pestilence is like this fucking like heresy movement inside Skaven that constantly keeps fucking over the other Skaven. You know what I mean? So like, the only reason that the Skaven haven't taken over the world is that the Skaven won't stop murdering each other. Which is why they're so amazing. They're one of and it's like one of those sublimely written and like brilliantly written villainous factions, like in all of like fantasy epics. You know what I mean? Like there's lots of things that you can critique about like Warhammer as being like derivative. Nothing that's like so derivative that it's embarrassing, you know what I mean? And a lot of people have stolen ideas from Warhammer over the years. But I don't think there's anything that's written the same way the Skaven are written. The Skaven are just like the best villain in almost
You mean
any
like,
fantasy universe.
you mean like Warcraft? Is that the most glaring example?
Yeah. I don't think, people who actually understand the history between the two companies don't even dispute the fact that they stole a lot of ideas from them. I mean, Warcraft had some really good ideas, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the Burning of Stratholme. There's some like high moments. There's some really good writing in Warhammer 3. Or Warhammer 3. In Warcraft 3.
Tyrion, heir of Anarion.
Right, but even StarCraft, their
Following your
direct.
orders.
Yeah, they basically they were originally supposed to be a Warhammer 40,000,
The gods
supposedly,
stand with me.
and then
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
shield
So
against
did
the
they have like a
darkness.
deal with them or something at first?
yeah, they had a deal with Games Workshop, and then I don't remember the exact reasons, but for some reason the deal fell
What do you
through,
require?
and that's
Destruction.
why the Tyranids and the Zerg are like functionally indistinguishable. They're the exact same species, just with a slightly different paint job. It's like one of the most blatant rip-offs.
Wonder what fell
I
through.
am the heir.
That would have
of
been an epic
Anarion.
partnership.
Follow the vow.
Yeah. Well, I think both companies wanted to maximize their own profits. And honestly, it's probably a good thing that Blizzard broke. I don't know the exact details of the history between the two. But it's probably a good thing that Blizzard decided to do their own thing. Because had they not, we never would have gotten Warcraft 3.
I'm heading to Grenstad. Is that where you're going?
Hold on, man. Yeah, I have 2 armies going over there. I'm gonna knock out the Von Karsteins. And oh, what does this army do?
Alariel the Radiant. Chosen.
That general that you had that you sent over there to.
Sigma.
Oh wait, yeah. So you can't. Yeah, just disband him because he's just wasting money. What you'll have to do is I need to start transferring these settlements to you. Probably once we clear out Sylvania and Talabeclan, I'm gonna start abandoning these settlements and I'll let you recolonize them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll just bring him over here then.
No, just recruit. No, it'll take him like 15 turns to get over here. Just disband him and then recruit a new one over here.
The people are resting.
Because you gotta think, if you move him over here that entire time, you know what I mean? You're just paying upkeep. You're paying increased upkeep on all of your units for no reason. I can auto-resolve this. I'm just gonna auto-resolve this. I don't care. None of these units matter. This army is just here to whack-a-mole Malekith every time he crosses the ocean.
Oh, okay.
Remove their bonds.
That's not important at me. I could have sent you more money.
Yeah, I only have that little income because of the second army I built.
Yeah, I'll send you money. I wish I could just set up like a recurrent payment.
Once I start getting those cities, it'll be fine.
In that case, just normally I would not suggest doing this. Because you never want to like weaken your army that bad, but just use Volkmar to recolonize the cities as I abandon them. At some point, dude, I've got to get you to play like Skaven in this game.
Compels us
So you understand like how unbelievably broken, how utterly ridiculous they are. But in the best possible way.
I swear, I think I played them before, but it was a long time ago. It might not have even been. Were they in the first one?
No.
Ours will.
So it must have been this one then.
Dude, the weirdest thing, when this game first came out, when Warhammer 2 first came out, the Skaven were objectively the worst of the four races. Like, it was one of those things where they probably have the biggest roster, if not one of the biggest rosters in all of Warhammer. Like, they need the entire roster to, like, really function. Or to really be fun to play. So, like, when this game first came out, if you did play them when they first came out, it's not... Like, Skaven is the one race that is objectively nothing like they were when this game first came out.
Okay.
Noble.
I am fascinated by them. Especially the more I learn about them.
Ever loyal. I live to serve my queen. Seal.
Yeah, you have, like, mortar teams. Like, you can literally shoot mortars full of poison gas at your enemy.
Well, the variety of units you fight in.
I am
Vermintide
ready to
was always
fight.
interesting to me.
Yeah, all of those units from Vermintide. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's not. No, all of those units from
Ancestors be
Vermintide
praised.
are in
Occupy this place.
Warhammer 3, or in Warhammer 2 rather.
Servant of the king.
I thought you were going
Queen
north.
of
That's why I was
Avalon.
heading south.
No,
Sound the
I'm
horn
heading
of
into
Isha.
Sylvania. I figure, like, once I wipe out Sylvania, Sylvania is
We
probably
are
the
the
only
world's
settlement that he can
protectors.
recruit tier 5 units in. So the vampire accounts can recruit tier 5 units in. Once Sylvania falls, because none of this shit's gonna be tier 5. He just conquered everything out here. Yeah, nothing else is high tier.
The nation calls.
Defender of Ulfwa.
Obey the vow. Stand ready. The warden assumes control.
He's probably gonna attack me next turn. Oh my god, that army. It's kinda bullshit. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. He's like spam recruiting just like tier 4 and tier 5 units now.
Which army? The one at Castle Temple Hall?
Yeah. There's like 4 Vargolfs, 3 Black Knights with lances, 2 Vargeist, Black Coach. It's just, I mean, like, it's not like it's a big deal. I think I can still beat it. It's, but like, that's a lot of mobility, and I don't have a Lore of Lightcaster in this army. Alario can't learn Net. Oh well. Maybe I'll win that fight, maybe I won't.
Expects.
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a
Why
YOLO
would
fight.
he attack you when he's posted up in that city? I mean, you
The
just wait
Star
for you to come
Lance
to him.
strikes.
Well, one, I can guarantee you this is not the only army he has. There's gonna be at least one other army somewhere in eastern Sylvania. Like, I guess I can check. Corruption. There's no army garrison inside any of those buildings. But just still, I know the way the AI operates. He probably has an army just out of line of sight. Probably somewhere. He probably has an army in Force March here, would be my guess, that he'll use to reinforce. So he's probably going to attack me with 2 armies over the intern. That's what he just did before, while I was in Force March. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that I was in Force March because that army was so low tier.
Master of Hoeth. Voyaging.
Let me know when Volkmar is ready to recapture a city. Because I can start abandoning this shit anytime. I just don't want to abandon it and then have the vampire counts immediately steal it back.
Well, I was gonna send Volkmar up to where you are just in case, and just recruit a single general to retake the other cities.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to send, if you don't have it, where do you mean up? Because it looks like Salzenmund is probably gonna fall next turn. You might want to send Volkmar north or to Talabecklin or anything like that. At some point, someday, is there a river here that nobody ever uses? You know what I mean? It gets this cool land feature running through the middle of the Empire. This is like the only time you could ever actually use it. It's to like sail up the River Reich and take back Talabheim. Because normally it's just like a totally useless, weird land feature that runs through the middle of the Empire.
Just like the Mississippi.
Basically, yeah. Oh, I was gonna give you money.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but I think I'm gonna be able to
What?
be fine once
Greetings from Sigma.
once we get rid of the vampire plague.
Yes.
How much money are you making per turn?
I don't want to tell you.
Why? Tell me.
On it.
Well, 1,000, 2,000.
Hold on, let me double check.
It's gotta be at least 3,000 based on that.
Agreed.
How much fucking money are you making per turn?
I'm making right now. I'm only making 18,000 a turn.
Oh. You're in a drought. I didn't realize.
Yeah, before for most of the game it's been like 30,000.
I've built all the buildings. This is where I'm at.
I could auto-resolve this. I'm really tempted to auto-resolve this. I'm only gonna lose one unit. I could auto-resolve.
You.
Yeah, I'm just gonna auto-resolve this. It's just, I'm only gonna lose an archer. I can recruit them this turn.
You will serve me.
I sense what you have to say will...
That's what you have to say.
Excuse me. Can I actually travel up actually I can travel up the river?
Yeah.
Volkmar the Grim.
This is literally the only time you would use that. I see what you're saying.
Steamboat Captain Volkmar.
I mean, I guess, well, I mean, I guess you had to rope around and get to, if you want to go like the Brass Keep or something. I mean, I guess you could use it and take to its. It is quicker travel than walking.
Yeah. It's just funny because like the river is there. It's like technically a quicker way to get to Talopine from Altdorf. Because I feel like nobody does it. Like I've watched so many people play this game, and I've watched so many people do Empire live streams. I've never seen anybody use that fucking river. Like, that's what that river is there for.
I've never used it.
I feel like people just, like, mentally block out that river. I'm thinking about traversing in the Empire. It's like the funniest thing that people have a mental block over.
Quest issued. Win the following battle with Emperor Karl Franz's army.
Franz!
Hoping that his dwarven allies will arrive in time to aid him, Karl Franz prepares to face the Greenskin onslaught.
Yeah, that fight's very doable with the army you have.
Is it worth the... What is the reward?
It's Gal Maraz, the literal Warhammer. The Warhammer that the entire setting is named after. Warhammer.
I might as well do it now then. I mean, this area is pretty much cleared out. I probably should have gone north instead of this way.
Do it.
I'm doing it. I can... Oh, if it lets you auto-resolve it, I basically could have.
This one's cool. This is like, there's some things not good with this. Like in Warhammer 2, when you have a quest battle that actually involves characters, the character who's supposed to be there shows up, you know what I mean? Like, in this one, the whole point of this battle is it's supposed to be that Thorgrim is coming to aid the Empire. You know, at this 4th or 5th battle of Blackfire Pass, whatever number we're on. So unfortunately, it's not Thorgrim that shows up. It's just some random dickhead dwarf lord.
Now is the time, men of the Empire, to unite, for the orcs gather. Beyond the pass, a war brings to him all that is foul. An orc horde beyond imagining. As Sigmar thought, so shall we. We will become part of the legend. We will wipe the orcs from our door. And only when this is done, when our nation has healed, shall I take up Gal Maraz. For Sigmar, for the Empire, for the Warhammer.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is one of the best speeches in this game.
Now, am I gonna have to advance to him, or is he gonna come towards me?
No, you should honestly back your army all the way up. You're gonna use like the Hellstorms to basically thin them out, and you're basically waiting for the dwarves to come in and suicide their army into the greenskins to soften them up, and then you pick off the greenskins as they come down the mountain. After your dwarven allies suicide themselves into the greenskin advance.
Get a real kick out of this mission, don't you?
I love this mission. I can't fucking wait for Warhammer 3. In Warhammer 3, whenever the big campaign finally does come out, you're gonna literally just be able to recruit dwarf warriors as your frontline when you're playing the Empire, you know what I mean? Like, that's just gonna be the allegiance system. Hopefully they import the allegiance system into, like, Grand Campaign.
Are my Hellstorm rocket batteries, are they gonna hit my troops? Is that what I'm seeing here?
No?
I mouse over them. No? Okay.
No, that should be good. One furthest to the left is at a weird angle. He might want to slide them all very slightly to the right. So he's
That's
off
what
the hill.
That's what I was thinking too.
Like,
Or I was gonna put them all the way on the hill and give them a height advantage. I couldn't decide.
see, because if you actually zoom in, I can't tell if it's flat or if it slightly inclines and then drops down. I think it slightly inclines and then drops down, which is bad. So they're probably better just on the flat part.
To me, no, this looks all flat. This looks inclined and flat.
If you look at my stream, like I don't know, you might be right, but I think if you get down to ground level, I think there's actually a very slight incline before the drop, which could obstruct line of sight. I don't. I've done this battle a million times. This battle's not hard, anyway. I would just narrow your range line a little bit. You don't want the range line poking out of the side. You know what I mean? You want the melee line as thin as possible. You want ranged units relatively square so that they can turn quicker. Like when you deploy like ranged units in a line, for them to rotate to keep on target, they have to rotate in formation. So when you have them in a rectangle, in a long rectangle, it really slows down how efficient they are at shooting at moving targets. Or targets just outside of their range.
I'm just literally just hanging out until the dwarves show up.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have friends on Deathclaw. Why?
I do not. That's the next thing I was gonna do.
Really, you're supposed to be on Deathclaw for this fight. You can stop that orc war boss, but whatever, it's fine.
I can.
That was such a weird charge. The Wolf Riders charged at like the most oblique angle possible.
That's why, yeah, that's why I wasn't sure. I was thinking, am I? Little motherfucker. Go Empire Captain.
I like that you're using the Hellstorms to kill all of your Dwarven allies.
Well, not fond of them.
That spider just punted that engineer. Well done, laddie.
Thank you.
Keep your heads down, men! They're casting spells!
And just make sure you remember to swap the weapon. I can't. Maybe it'll do it for you. Like Galmaraz is just objectively better than whatever Runefang Bronze has.
They didn't stand a chance, did they?
No.
Good.
Greenskins never
So
seen a chance.
now I have the literal Warhammer.
Yeah. The Warhammer that the entire setting is named after.
Wouldn't that
I
be
command
the
here.
best weapon in the game then?
I mean, like, in the lore, it is. There's, like, many stories about, like, the Warhammer one-shotting random villainous dickheads who are enemies of the Empire or enemies of
Yeah.
Sigmar.
It auto-selected it.
Protector of the Everqueen.
Alariel the Everqueen.
I'd wither first.
Speak.
The gods are angry.
No!
Okay.
Get it.
Prince Eltharion. Defender of Ulthuan.
And even better is I'm making a
I
whopping
am
negative
ready to
340. I
fight.
challenge you to beat that.
You should have enough cash to sustain yourself for a while now.
Destroy everything.
Alright. One of the two vampire factions is gone.
Okay.
Alariel.
I'll start moving Franz up. I thought you were going north and not south, so I got confused.
Darkness is kept at bay. Ever onward. Alariel the...
This close victory but low
This world
casualties.
needs us.
So I'm just gonna auto resolve it.
You're the boss.
Light triumphs over darkness.
Student occupied.
Priestess of Isha.
How much longer till Warhammer 3 comes out again?
Queen of Avalon.
Days. You can preload it now.
Everqueen of Ulthuan.
The bird finally. Bird, bird, bird. The bird is the word.
I know.
Light of Avalon.
You have my attention. On to adventure!
The nation calls.
Here, since your army is already damaged, I'll go ahead and abandon Grinstadt. You can recolonize it with Franz.
I am prince and emperor.
Okay.
And then the turn after, I'll abandon Averheim. I'm gonna just start giving the electric counts back to you.
Watchmen all around.
Although, how much Imperial authority do you have? How negative is it? Shit. You're gonna have to give Grinstadt to the Elector and then just take Averheim for yourself. So the Elector will be back on the map because you have to get back to positive Imperial authority, you know what I mean? You're probably gonna have to do that with a couple Elector counts. Like, return to them. When you colonize it, return it to the Elector count. What the fuck? Oh yeah.
The people are restive. My life for Tor Ifres.
So which one are you going? So you want me to? You're gonna take a. You're gonna return a city in. Where's my tools here? In this area?
Renstadt, the one right next to where Franz is.
Okay, and I'll just give it back to my electric count. I guess.
Yeah, I would give that one to the electric count, but then when I abandon Averheim, just take Averheim for yourself. You'll get all the bonus of that electric count. And so you'll be able to farm the electric count of Averland for Imperial Authority, but you'll actually get to keep the electric count bonus. Like, you'll have access to the unique unit from Averland. I don't remember which one Averland is. I think Averland is the Pistolier. If he occupies the electric count, he gets the bonus, and he just keeps, if he keeps them in one of the minor settlements, then he can farm them for Imperial Authority and eventually confederate them.
Sorry, I had you. Well, I mean, I heard you, but you were muted on my end.
Oh, I got you.
Hear me?
All that stuff's in Empire territory. Okay, I'm just gonna abandon all this. I'm not gonna build it up.
The Asher are troubled.
Everyone
The Warden.
got moved.
Ulf One's defender.
He's moved.
Prince Eltharion.
Monsters.
No rest, no weakness. The Warden of Tor Ivres.
That's good enough.
We're under siege.
I am a Saurian reborn.
Sorry. You're So we're just waiting for Grenstadt to be relinquished by you at this moment in time, right?
Yeah, after this intern sequence, it'll blow up. Then
yeah,
on your next turn, you'll be able to colonize it. I don't know why it does that. There's like a one-turn delay. This is one of those things. This is why I can't wait for fucking Warhammer 3. Because all of these like stupid, broken, small oversights are all fixed. Like in Warhammer 3, if you get really far behind again and I have to help you, you can just conquer the city and just give it to you. Like, all of these problems, all of these annoyances are just fixed in Warhammer 3.
Yeah, and that makes more sense when you think of other strategy games that are similar to this. Or just strategy games in general. It just makes more sense.
It was fixed in fucking 3 Kingdoms, you know what I mean? Like, if they could figure out how to do it in Three Kingdoms, I feel like they could have brought it into Warhammer 2 at some point. They probably just wanted to save it as like a capstone feature for Warhammer 3. I'm pretty sure there are mods that like effectively do that. That let you buy and sell settlements from your allies. Sometimes like you'll have control of like the major or the major settlement in a province, and then like one of your idiot allies will colonize like one of the minor settlements. It's just been like a perpetual headache, like throughout all of Warhammer 2.
This is our sworn duty. It is but one for two.
Meridian's name.
They basically reference the quality of life improvements. Is essentially
No glory.
Yeah, 90% of what I'm looking forward to in Warhammer 3 is like the small quality of life improvements that they make.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna do this battle.
Understood.
I can probably do this battle's gonna take a while, so after this, I don't know, maybe I can do like 1 or 2 more turns. But I've got an appointment I've got to go to in the morning.
No, that's fine. I mean, if you want, we can at least do one more turn to where I can.
Yeah, settle Grinstead.
Yeah.
Oh, remind me, I need to abandon Averheim this turn too.
Okay, and then.
Because then
that should be enough for tonight then, because I know you gotta go.
Yeah.
Archers! It will be done!
For Assyrian.
It shall be done!
Chosen Avisha.
It will be done!
For
the king!
So I couldn't win with Lost Ark with my Discord mute button because it kept popping up the store. Now, with the button that I made it, whenever I hit the mute button, a big fucking picture of Karl Franz's face pops up on my screen to confirm who I'm playing as.
What button is that?
Equals. The equals button. Like I was like, this button's not used in video games. No. This game makes a giant picture of Karl Franz pop up.
Weird. Hit the button again. I've never seen that.
It has to be my turn. Like I can hit it right now all I want. It doesn't do anything.
Oh, so like on the campaign screen it does something. Okay. That's weird. I didn't even know the button did anything. I never hit the equals button in this game. I don't.
Me either. I thought it'd be perfect.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, I'm not using that button when I'm playing any other game. If I could unbind the Lost Ark store from button F4, but
Nah, Amazon won't let you unbutton the store button. That's the most important button.
it's the most important. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, because people will probably disable it. Imagine if you just disabled the store. That'd be the fastest patch you ever seen come out for a video game.
Yeah, you realize there's no way we can finish this campaign before the Warhammer 3 comes out, right?
People in someone in my chat, I was just telling him, it's like I don't anticipate us. I was just explaining that we were doing this to get our feet wet, like get back to the swing of things. We've both been playing different games. We haven't done a game like this in a while together. And I was just saying, we're on hard mode. We're not on the highest difficulty. This was supposed to be like a casual run through the story, and now it's become a vindictive quest of mine to regain the Empire because the vampire counts decided to swoop in and just
eat your butt.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So it went from that to me being like, nah, we gotta fix this. We're playing this campaign. But no, once Warhammer 3 comes out, this campaign will end, but just automatic. It won't be finished. If it is finished, it won't be. We're not going to sacrifice Warhammer 3 game time, so it'll be later on.
Do you already own Warhammer 3? Like, did you pre-purchase it?
No.
But as of like now, you can fuck. As of now,
Preload.
yeah, you can preload. As of maybe a couple hours ago.
What am I gonna if I buy this early? What am I getting?
The Ogre Kingdoms for nothing, or the Ogre Kingdoms only for preload, or only for. You get the Ogre Kingdoms for free. You get an entire.
What is it? DLC otherwise?
Yeah, otherwise it's a DLC. It's probably I don't know if they've announced the price of what it's gonna be. It's probably gonna be like $15 to $20 at release.
Alright, I'll pre-order it. It goes against my belief though.
I think honestly, I don't know if they've said it explicitly. The way they normally do it is you have 1 week. You buy Warhammer 3 in the first week of release, you should get the Ogre Kingdoms for free. That's how they've always done it. With every other like launch DLC they've done.
Why risk it? I mean, I do want to. The ogres were the ones that I told you I wanted to play as.
Yeah. I
think
do love
ogres are cool.
greases. The ogres in Warhammer Fantasy are basically like fat, disgusting mutants that try to eat the world.
Yeah. I like to play as things I identify as. What's wrong with that? That's my
Nothing.
Fat, disgusting, slimy ogres are my comfort zone.
Is that like the native flora of Texas?
The native what?
Native animal population of Texas. Or fauna, I should say fauna, not flora. Flora would be plants.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused. I was like, no, we don't plant things that grow ogres out of the ground. If we did, I would have fucking moved here a long time ago.
For some reason, like there would be 2 words that like have a similar meaning, but you always get them backwards. You know what I mean?
Effect and effect.
Yes, affect and versus effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's mine. That's my problem word.
For me, it's flora and fauna. I can never remember which one's which. Or like I always have it backwards in my head. I always think that flora is animals and fauna is plants. Until I really think about it. It's like the one
Isn't fawn another word for
for a deer. That's how I have to remember it in
just
my
remember
head.
that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I have to go through the steps of like, oh wait, fawn is like the deer thing. So like that's the deer word.
Isn't there a word that sounds? Doesn't stalactite have a word that's similar
Stalagmite.
to it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't remember.
That confuses me too.
I gave up on trying to remember which one's which. Like between
Stalactite
stalactite and stalagmite.
I think stalactite aren't they the things that grow in caves?
One is down, one is up.
Yeah, I think stalactites grow out of the ground, don't they?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I like in like elementary school, I decided I don't care enough to remember which one is which. Like I'm okay with sounding stupid and not remembering which one is which.
See, I'm the exact opposite. It internally infuriates me that I, for some reason, can't remember which one is which, so it always bothers me.
No, that's one of the ones that I gave up on.
You accept it. I don't accept it.
Yeah. There are some that I haven't given up on, you know what I mean? Like affect and effect. Like those are important. Like how often in life do you need to know like which one grows up and which one grows down in caves?
You literally need to know it for what we're talking about right now. Affect is a verb and effect is a noun. Is basically it.
But they mean different things. Affect is like means like emotional state. Effect is like
no, that's in psychology. It does not in standard, not in regular English.
Okay, whatever.
So the effect and affect have different meanings in psychology than they do in regular English.
Well, affect does. Affect, but no, affect is like your emotional state. Like it's just I don't think that's unique to psychology. I'm pretty sure people like just have expanded the meaning of the word beyond that. But, like that's the original meaning of the word.
Affect is essentially
it's the same root as affection. Like
no, if you're going to use it as a verb, that's when you use affect. If you're going to use it as a verb, so for example, the weather is affected. The weather has affected his mood. That's AFFECT. Versus the effect of the weather impacted our lives.
Yeah.
Use that as an example. So, yeah, even knowing that though still makes it hard for me to. I like mentally handicapped myself with those two words.
That's okay.
I just created a training for my job that's being distributed across the organization, and they always want me to like write them or write them up, even though I'm like I tell people all the time, like I am someone that can write after heavily edited, after things are heavily edited. Like I don't have the best sentence structure or spelling, so like I've really there was this one thing I wanted to describe, and it was just really the affect and effect was really just getting on my nerves. That's why it's fresh in my mind. Like I'm still not 100% sure I used the right one. That's what bothers me.
There's this really famous quote that says there are no good writers, only good editors, which is
yeah,
like
I'm horrible. I can write a story, and I mean, subjectively, it can be good. I mean, it was in the college level considered good, but I am not. I need people to edit my papers. I'm bad at editing. Well, I shouldn't say that. I can, if you task me to edit something, if that's what I'm going in there knowing that I have to do, I can do a moderate job. But basically, I need someone to clean up my writing.
I was like, my first drafts of anything that I wrote in college was always terrible, but I got really good at editing. Like that was how I got A's, was because I was just able to like catch my mistakes and like find the flaws and the failures in my reasoning.
See, and I took the opposite approach. I got really good at writing to make my mistakes easy to fix, but I was not one to go in and like do a great job editing. Um, I just tried to minimize the mistakes I made.
That makes sense. I don't have the natural writing skill to be good at first drafts. So when I figured that out, I just realized like, oh, I don't have to be good at writing. I just have to be good at editing. Like editing is just much easier.
And for me, the editing part made me frustrated because I felt it was taking away from my time to be creative. So I didn't like to get bogged down with the editing stuff. I just wanted to do the best I could to get my ideas and story out there, go over it with a second or third draft, make sure the structures of the paragraphs are right, make sure the point that I want to get across is correct, edit word choice and whatnot, and that was about it for me.
There are like some times where like the insight that I would get in editing would be really profound, and the editing process would completely change like the tone and direction of what I was writing. And sometimes, because like when I was editing, I could get into like a flow state almost, I think. And there were some times where I like what I was trying to say became much clearer after the editing process. I was able to see like, oh, like this is not clear at all. I need to like radically restructure this part of the paper, because nothing that I've said about this is like understandable or is going to be understandable. What I was trying to say became much clearer.
Nick, don't forget, remember you're a mod. You can post your YouTube link in my. I just remembered to do it. You can post your channel into my stream, and I don't care.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I just did it.
Yeah.
I just did it because I just realized whether they're watching from my perspective or yours, I'm just basically watching you right now do the battle.
I don't think I have enough ammo to win, but I think I have enough ammo to wipe out most of this army and then very easily win this battle next turn.
But yeah, put that conversation. There are some words and some meanings that I think I'm just going to forever have to consistently remind myself, whether it was back in the day with a dictionary or something, or today's day when you just have to Google it. There's always going to be those words where I'm going to second guess myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. For me, it's were and where. I can never remember which one has the H, you know what I mean? I almost always have to like double check myself.
That's interesting to me. I've never had a problem with any of the W's.
I don't know what it is. It's those two specific words, where and were. Like, I say that now, and even now sitting here, I'm not really sure which one is which. In terms of spelling, I don't remember which one has the H.
You mean W-E-R-E versus W-H-E-R-E?
Yeah. I mean, I know the meaning of the word is different, you know what I mean? But I can never remember spelled out which word is which.
That's interesting.
Or like I always have to double check myself.
Yeah, I wish I had more to say. I mean, I find that interesting because, I don't know. How can I say this without It doesn't strike me as the same as the words we were just talking about. Maybe that's just because I don't know. That's weird. But there's probably words that you think are easy to know and compare that I might have an issue with. I don't know. This kind of stuff interests me.
I think it's for me. It's because like the part of my brain that stores words doesn't store them in sound form. Like the sound form is downstream from the written form, you know what I mean? So if two words have like a very similar written form, it becomes very confusing for me. Which I don't know if everybody's brain works that way. I think most people like functionally store the kind of word processing part of their brain is usually dependent on the sound processing part of the brain.
It's interesting. I've never really, I don't know, I've never really thought about it like that. So you think the spell, so you think the ability to spell is tied to our ability to enunciate?
No, I think most people learn a language by hearing it and
Right.
by then emulating other people talking or speaking that language. So you're
Sure, yeah.
you're primarily thinking about the way words sound when you're recalling words.
Oh, no, for sure. That's what I mean. Yes, okay. I will call myself out on that. That I've told you this before. I don't spell very well. Like I know the word that I want to use. I can use it in a sentence. I can write it, but I'm not a very good speller. And I have the I'm very I'm very likely to spell a word quasi phonetically, which it's always bothered me personally, but what can I do?
Yeah, because the only words that I generally get confused on are words where the spelling is very similar. And I'm pretty sure it's because I'm using like the wrong organizational system for like storing words in your head. Because I never really think about the way words sound. I always just try to memorize the spelling and the etymology. Usually the spelling in English tells you what the etymology of the word is in many cases, not all cases, but
That's interesting because I'm the opposite. I try and focus on clarity of speech and dictation, and spelling a word correctly was never at the forefront of what I cared about. I cared about getting the idea on paper, understanding what I meant to say, making sure it's structurally sound, and have it edited. So have someone go edit it for me.
yeah, I think that's the way most people actually operate. The way most people like program and kind of work the language in their head. I think that's like the normal way.
Without sounding like I'm making a stance that you have some level of a lack of creativity. I think it's how more creative minds function versus more logical thinking minds function.
It could
Like
be. I don't know.
You're probably, based on what you said, you're probably way better than math than I am.
It's possible. See, I don't know. My hypothesis is that you're correct, but like it's one of those like hypotheses. It's impossible to like meaningfully test. You know what I mean? I've always kind of suspected that was the case, but I can't. Like even what I'm saying about how I think I process language and store language, like it couldn't. You know, until neuroimaging becomes orders of magnitude better than it is right now, there's not a way to prove my speculation. There's not even a way to like verify whether or not what I'm saying is even like plausible.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's how most theories start. I mean, what do you think this could be? Well, I think it could be this. Cool, go prove it. What is the etymology of that idiom? Sorry, that's a Star Trek quote. Data said to Chief O'Brien, "What is the etymology of that idiom?" And Chief O'Brien just looked at him like a stupid person. Huh?
Idioms are like really hard. It is like the most difficult thing in translation is
But
idioms.
he said he was in engine. There was the final episode when they went back in time. It was like the first episode when O'Brien was still on the ship, and he said, "Looks like we'll be burning the midnight oil." This is before they had the chief engineer, and Data was confused. He said, "What is the etymology of that idiom?" And O'Brien didn't know the answer. He's like, "Well, I don't know, sir." Well, first he said, "Huh," and Data said, "Where does that come from?" And he said, "I don't know."
I don't know if etymology is the right word to use there. I guess it's not the worst possible. Etymology, I guess, kind of. I don't think that's the right word though to describe that.
Well, the origin of the expression is basically what he was saying, was it not?
Yeah, but I think etymology specifically refers to the origin of words. I don't know. I've never heard it used to refer to sayings.
Well, the origin, I mean, it makes sense to me because burning the midnight oil, yeah, that makes sense to me because the idiom would be the collection of the words used. So, what is the etymology of the usage of those words for that expression? Like, why would somebody say they're, I mean, you'd have to look at it from the perspective of what does it mean to burn oil? If you don't know, then.
Probably reduce his force by like half in this battle.
Yeah. Yeah, you for sure. A lot of bat boys in the background. Do you retreat?
Yeah. I'm out of ammo.
Okay, true. I was caught up in conversation. I'm about my Volkmar is basically at the docks of that other city too.
Oh,
Should be able to
nice.
get that done with at least, yeah. So I know you said you could like maybe 1 or 2 turns left in you. If you do, those would be the 2 turns. Take the city and then take that city, and that completes what we basically set out to do tonight anyway.
I
But it's up to
feel
you. I mean, if I can't auto resolve it, then you just don't do it.
Alariel the Everqueen.
Right?
Um,
I'm trying not to keep you because I'll probably still stream for an hour or 2 more. I'll just jump over and do my dailies in Star Trek Online. Yeah, I think I'll be able to. I think Volkmar will be able to attack next turn.
Mastery of
I
stealth.
think maybe. Well, if he can't, then fuck it. I've never used this river. Like I just always assumed it was just. I assumed it was just there to make geographic sense out of why Altdorf would be there.
Chosen of Isha.
I don't think I ever needed to sail on this map because I'm always on this part of the world.
I'm telling you, dude, nobody ever uses that river. I think most people don't even realize it's a river. They just think it's like part of their graphics.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I thought. You can't sail out to the ocean from there though because of that little all the collection of rocks and
You
shit
have
right
my
there,
attention.
right?
Yeah, you can. You can sail all the way out in the ocean.
You can sail through this, the stuff I just circled.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Not through the lower part, through the upper part. Or maybe through both. I'm not sure. Yeah, those don't impede travel. Those just mean you can walk on the land.
Prince Eltharion.
I don't know. If they're high enough to walk on, whatever.
It doesn't have to make sense. Don't think about it too hard.
Good advice. I'll take it.
I'm abandoning Aberheim this
The other
turn,
queen.
so that eventually
My
you'll
journey
be able
begins.
to colonize it.
High Lawmaster. There is
I
power
got
in the
front
waves.
on his
My
mount now.
infinite knowledge is yours. Embarking.
Oh, and Deathclaw.
Mm-hmm.
Get it.
Hope is fading.
Servant of the king.
Let's have you do your turn and then I'll save it.
All right.
'Cause I gotta wake up really early.
I am Tyrion, champion.
Time.
Like 6:30 or 7.
Oh dear.
Onwards!
There used to be this really funny bug where, like, if you were at war with an electric count, you could still return the province to them. Every time you returned the province to them, it would gain fealty and you would gain imperial authority. So you could just, like, attack the settlement, give it back to the electric count. You would get some movement back because you gave it to the electric count. You would just attack the settlement again, get another fealty and imperial authority when you gave it back to them. It was like, when this first came out, the Empire was like totally broken. In like the most beautiful and absurd way.
Sigmar guides my steps. The righteous hammer of Sigmar.
I'm pretty sure that as Rakarth, I think when I took Altdorf, I'm like 90% sure that I just sailed down the river directly to Altdorf, and then I sacked Altdorf.
When was this? A different. What were you doing?
I was playing as the Dark Elf hero that started the Dark Elf Legendary Lord Rakarth that starts up here. Who's losing in Norse game somehow.
You just sailed straight to the capital of the Empire.
Yeah, and sacked it. Because they start on this big island up here.
Okay. I didn't think you could play as any races over there. I thought that's where like the Lord was and everything.
They added Rakarth recently. He was like a free legendary lord.
Oh.
Alright, there we go. It's saved.
Alright.
Alright, man, I'm gonna hit the hay.
Sounds good. I'm not probably, well, if I might be on tomorrow.